Have you checked out all the new handicappers at WagerTalk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at WagerTalk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to WagerTalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.
Happy Tuesday, guys. Welcome to WagerTalk TV and Stoppage Time. I am Carmine Bianco. Champions League show today. We are going to cover 4 games. 2 of them being played today, 2 of them being played on Wednesday. We'll do Benfica and Club Brugge, Chelsea, Dortmund, Tottenham, AC Milan, and Bayern Munich and PSG, which is the big game on the card tomorrow. A bunch of Leg 2, obviously, fixtures to see who gets into the quarterfinal round. With me from WagerTalk.com, it's Bryan Power, and from Sports Memo, Nick Borman and Pavlos here. We've got a couple of guys in. Kevin's off today, but Pavlos admirably filling in for him. Pavlos, I know you're a late-minute ad, so I thank you for coming on, and how are things with you?
Really great. Made some money over the weekend. It was a strange weekend as I predicted, but still, I had one play yesterday, the over in the Sassuolo match. I didn't touch anything else, and I'm glad I didn't. So I'm super excited about the Champions League, guys. I'm 6-1 with 5%. I have one loaded for tonight, one loaded for next Tuesday. So if you buy a 7-day all access, you'll get both 5% and all plays in between. Of course, Europa League plays, Europa Conference League plays, weekend plays, everything. So super excited to be on the show, guys, and let's talk some soccer.
All right, awesome. Nick, how are things with you, man? We haven't seen you since, I think, last Tuesday or the previous week. Things going good? MLS? How's MLS treating you?
Yeah, MLS off to a good start. Profitable both weekends so far. So a good start there. Champions League has been great. 50%, over 50% netted so far. That includes the group stage, obviously. And 5-0 right now on 5% soccer run. So a lot of things rolling in the right direction. Hopefully we keep that going. And I just love these midweek Champions League games. And listen, if you're a real junkie like me, we also have CONCACAF Champions League this week, which is MLS, Liga MX, all that stuff tonight as well. So good time to be alive.
Good time. Listen, good time to be alive. I love the spirit, man. I'm gonna have an awesome promo after the first game that we cover. But before, obviously, we get into that first game, I gotta welcome Bryan. Bryan, how you doing, man?
Doing great, Carm. Yesterday, made it 4 straight in the Premier League. Brentford getting it done. Won both of our best bets, actually, yesterday, including the under in San Francisco Gonzaga in college hoops. Now 64% overall the last 9 days. That's all plays. 9-2-1 run in soccer. And we were 3-0 in the Champions League last go-around. So looking to build off that this week. Going to play both matches tomorrow. And then I've got a lean, obviously, on one of them for this afternoon.
Awesome. Let's get the money, boys. And let's get to it. I have a couple of plays up in Champions League for today, and we'll have some for tomorrow, along with a futures bet that I'm going to be adding. But with that said, let's hit it, guys. First game on the card, Benfica, Club Brugge. The odds on this one, Benfica minus 221 at home. The draw is plus 362. Bruges plus 604 on this one. Pavlos and I will look at this one. I've got a few talking points on this. This was the leg 1 fixture, and this one was my 5% play on Benfica. And they were plus money at the time, plus 110 heading into that one. Not much has changed other than the final result in that game was 2-0 for Benfica. The XG numbers were 2.83 to 0.23 for Benfica. It pretty much went as expected. It could have been a bigger score line. Bruges just hasn't been the same team in the new year. And, and the thing is here, while I expect this game to get off to a slower start because Bruges don't have to really go for it at the start being down 2-0, at some point they're going to have in that first half, if they can't score, they're going to have to push the pace here. And that's just a bad thing to do when you go to Portugal to take on a Benfica team to get stretched out. there's only one way I'm leaning on this. I get the handicap on this is probably about 1.25, it'll probably be close to 1.5 by game time. I think the better play here is the total. I like the total 5. That's a split line of 2.5 and 3. For those of you that are novices, when you see a 2.75 or you see a book that puts up a 2.5, 3, that means if you're betting $100 on that number, 50 of it is going on the one total of 2.5 and 50 is going on the total of 3. Lands on 3, you push a half and you win a half. They score 4, you win both. If they score 2, you would have lost anyways. So that's the way you look at it. But over 2.75 is the bet for me in this one. Pavlos, give me your thoughts.
Well, this was a strange first leg, to be honest. Club Brugge, they almost hurt Benfica in that first half. Of course, the goal was disallowed, but Benfica, they got their act together in that second half, and they, they scored a couple of goals. To be honest, the 1-0 would be enough for them, but they scored a safety goal in the 88th minute with Neres. So now the matchup is reversed. They're now playing at home. Benfica have been really good at home so far in the season. Actually, dating back to last season, they have 16 wins. They're on an 18-0 unbeaten run, 18-match unbeaten streak at home, 16 wins, just 2 draws. They've been great against Belgian sides. They lost just actually they're on a 10-match unbeaten run against Belgian sides with 8 wins and 2 draws. They've won each of the last 6 against Belgian sides, and Benfica, they always do well in knockout rounds. Whenever, especially when they win the first leg. Now they've been eliminated in just 3 out of 31 knockout matches in which knockout stages in which they won the first match. They've scored in each of the last 12 Champions League matches, which is the longest streak in their history. And it all bodes very badly for Club Brugge here, who I have to say that in the group stage they did thrash Porto by 4-0 on the road, but Club Brugge, at the start of the Champions League, they were a really strong side. They held really good teams scoreless, and of course, they made it through to the round of 16. However, they're not doing a very good job lately. The changing coach, they got Scott Parker, who was a manager at Bournemouth and Fulham. He's not a very good manager, and he's not at all experienced at this stage. So I think they're going to have a very tough time here. Club Brugge, they've won just one of the last 10 away matches, and the changing coach really didn't do anything to help them. So, however, this is a tricky match. The 2-0 from the first half does leave, just a slight, a slight open door for Club Brugge to do something here. Benfica know this, and keep in mind that Benfica have a scary attack. They can drop 2-3 goals in the first half alone. But I'm going to take the under 1.25 goals in the first half at -115. Now, this is a split line between the under 1 and the under 1.5. I think it's going to be a very tough first half because Club Brugge know that if they concede a goal, it's all over for them. And Benfica, they really don't want to concede an early first half goal against Club Brugge because it's really going to complicate things. So I expect a very, very tight first half between the two sides. I'm going to take the under 1.25 goal at the first half.
All right, Pavlos, Legaretos, Sportsman. Well, Pavlos, we can both still get there with this. 1-0 at halftime, 3-0 final. We both kind of get a win and a push in this one. And and I agree. It's tricky in the sense of, and this is why I don't want to lay the handicap because Benfica are up, as I said, 2-0 on the aggregate right now, and they don't need to win by multiple goals. I would love to see them win by multiple goals when you're betting the total. But there's even if they're up 1-0 or the game is even late in the game, there's no need for them to push upfield. It's just whether they get some counter-attacking opportunities if Brugge gets stretched out trying to push the game. But that's why laying anything over a goal in this game is sort of tough, and that's where the line is right now. I think it's a -1.25 last I saw. Have you looked at? I hate to throw this question at you. Have you looked at any cards in this game? Anything from a prop point of view? Cards, corners.
I do actually have a player prop. It's loaded within my 5% for tonight, but I'm going to give it out for free, guys. Just a 2% player prop, goal scorer prop. I'm going to take João Mario to score anytime for Benfica. He's been on fire lately with 8 goals in the last 8 matches with Benfica. He scored in 4 consecutive Champions League matches and also scored against Juventus and PSG in that span. And now he's actually chasing a really a record that's been going on for, I think, 60 years. The legendary striker Eusebio has scored in, I believe, 6 consecutive matches. So João Mario is really chasing that score. He's the designated penalty kick taker for Benfica. He's starting, and I believe there's a very good chances for him to score anytime. So I found plus 170 for him to score anytime, just a 2% player prop for me.
I love that, and I'm pretty sure he's the PK taker. So if they get awarded a penalty, he will be he'll be on that spot with the ball. So we appreciate you giving out an additional play on this one, guys. Before we get to the other game that goes today at 3 p.m., the Chelsea and Dortmund game, I want to mention a promo for the show. This is only good until Friday, but it's such a great deal. I have gotten our office to put together this deal. If you use code ST for Stoppage Time, ST200, you can get a 90-day package, which is normally $4.99 for only $2.99. So basically 90 days for $2.99 or $100 a month. And that's going to cover you right through the rest of the domestic league seasons in Europe, which end at the end of May and the first week of June, of course. And through the rest of this competition, pretty much, I think, right up until the finals of the 3 competitions. So it's a great deal, and it's good for any of the guys on the show, and of course, Kevin Dolan as well, too, who will return to his regular spot on Thursday. With that said, guys, let's get to Stamford Bridge for this one. Chelsea and Dortmund today. First leg result on this one was Dortmund at home, winning 1-0. Chelsea minus 112. The draws plus 270. Dortmund plus 350. Bryan, I'm going to go to you on this one first, and then we'll go to Nick for his thoughts. Chelsea finally get a win, a much-needed win for Graham Potter. Some good news, although he won't be playing today, is one of my favorite midfielders is back on the field, N'Golo Kante for Chelsea, but they've got some players out. He's obviously out. Aubameyang is inactive. Mason Mount cannot play today, suspended on yellow cards. So a few players out for Chelsea, but Reece James could be back as well too for this one. Give me your thoughts on this, and does any of this players in and out of this lineup factor into your decision on this game?
Well, look, this is the way I look at it, and I'm sure Nick's going to hit on this as well. It is no secret that Chelsea is struggling to put the ball in the back of the net. I mean, you see the tweets all the time when you're on social media when they're playing. Over the last 15 matches, Chelsea has scored a grand total of 16 matches. Grand total of 7 goals on approximately 20 XG. So they're way underperforming, and over the last 7 matches, they've scored just twice while producing 9.6 XG. And the goal scoring woes, guys, not just limited to the Premier League. In the first leg of this round of 16 Champions League tie with Dortmund, which you mentioned, Carm, they lose 1-0. Chelsea came up empty despite 8 shots on target. So I know a lot of people have been saying it. I've said it before. Chelsea is due to start scoring some goals, but what you don't hear about nearly enough is they've also been a little fortunate this season when it comes to conceding. They've conceded 6 fewer times than expected in Premier League matches. Only Newcastle, Liverpool, and Fulham have been more fortunate in that regard. And certainly, I think we can count on Dortmund putting 1 or 2 on the board here this afternoon. We talked about it last week. Unbeaten since the World Cup break. They make it 10 straight on the bounce with the 2-1 win over Leipzig. And they've put up 25 goals during this 10-match win streak. So Dortmund is a lock to score, and Chelsea obviously needs goals here as well, down 1-0 on aggregate. Dortmund has not kept a clean sheet away in the Champions League since November of 2020. So Chelsea's going to score here. I firmly believe that. Backup goalkeeper for Dortmund today. We should point that out as well. First leg, there was 3.5 XG between the two sides, including 2.1 from Chelsea. So I'll say it for a third time. Chelsea is due to start scoring some goals. And don't be surprised if they get one on a set piece. That's kind of a weakness for Dortmund defensively. So I like the over 2.5 goals here, Carm. Chelsea due to score again, and Dortmund kind of a lock to continue scoring here. We should get 3 goals, no problem.
Hey, listen, I like it, Bryan. I'm with you on it. I think we see some goals. Sometimes score lines can be deceiving, and you look at that leg one at Dortmund. Dortmund only 14 attempts on goal, only 2 shots on goal. One of them goes in. Chelsea, 19 attempts, 8 shots on goal, a 2.09 xG I'm seeing in front of me to 151, and the game finishes 1-0. If you're an over better, you're wondering, where did I go wrong? Well, you didn't. It just did not go in. Nick, I'm going to go to you next. And Bryan touched on it. Dortmund have been unbeatable since the start of the new year. 10-0 across, obviously, the Champions League, the German Polka, and the Bundesliga, and a 25-8 goal differential. 3 of those goals allowed coming in one game against, I think, Augsburg. Are we seeing goals today?
Echo. Over, echo. Yes. That's my lame joke. You're trying to say yes. I'm doing the same suggestion as Bryan. And listen, he stole all my thunder. I got nothing left to add. I do have a few points, but listen, Bryan and I both talk XG all the time, so I'm not surprised he said the same things. I'll repeat it for the 4th time for Bryan, but the 319th time for myself. Chelsea has to be due to score goals, right? I mean, right? Yeah. They put up so many, quality chances, expected goals, however you look at it. They just – I mean, Timo Werner's gone. Shouldn't they be able to score by now? That was the problem last year. I don't get it. What is keeping these guys from putting the ball in the net? But it's got to happen. And listen, if we just look at the generalities of Champions League and two-legged affairs. Round 1, 7 of 8, I believe, matches stayed under the total, right? As generally is what you see a little bit more of. That was probably a little bit more than the long-term average. And leg 2s, leg 1, don't lose. Leg 2, do whatever the hell you have to try to find a win. And I think we're going to see that from Chelsea. Listen, I'm not going to argue that either team wants to win this more than the other, right? Let's be honest. It's Champions League. Both teams are going for whatever they got to do. But from a desperation standpoint, this is all Chelsea has. I mean, Premier League is over. To even get up into the top 4 is a far cry at this point. So this is it. This is everything they have on the season on the line. And I believe that, whether or not they get over and, come back in this two-legged affair to advance, I don't know. But I do think that they will do whatever they have to try to get on the board, which, we talk about it a million times. When you push and you try to score, you also are susceptible to counterattacks and leaving yourself open at the back as well. So that's a lot of the reasons we're going to see overs more so often in leg 2s than in leg 1s. I was a fortunate under better in the leg 1. It was a 5% play. I took it. It was stress-free from the standpoint that the score was only 1-0, but watching the game, I mean, kind of Bryan mentioned it, there was 33 shots in that thing. There was a ton of XG in that match. I mean, so as I'm watching it, I'm just like, every time they were kicking the ball, I'm like, it's a pretty good chance. Oh, okay. It's Chelsea. All right, we're okay. But now I'm hoping that reverses itself here and that they actually can put the ball in the net. But, Potter ball, it's a big joke on social media, as Bryan mentioned. He did it at Brighton. He's doing it at Chelsea. His team's put up a ton of good chances. They just do not score. It's got to happen eventually, right? So call me in for the 40th time because I'm trying to back a Chelsea over, but I think this has a good chance to do it.
All right, Nick Borman, Sports Memo. And guys, I'm going to add, listen, I like the thinking, and I'm with you on wanting to take the over, but I have to play, and I do it all the time with my own plays. I have to play the devil's advocate and say to myself, and I'll say it out loud, is that first game had so many opportunities, and so it was such an open game, and yet in typical Chelsea fashion, they do not score. It finishes 1-0, and this is a completely different game now because it is leg 2. It is a manageable score line, and we want to see goals, and we think we're going to see goals, but are we going to see goals? And that's where I'm playing the devil's advocate, because it's kind of like you take that mentality, today will be different, and then the game ends scoreless, and you're thinking, what made me want to take the Chelsea over in this one? Bryan, any last thoughts on me playing the devil's advocate in this one?
No, it's you're not wrong for thinking that, but it's just to go back to something else I said. If it was only just, Nick and I pounding our heads saying Chelsea's due to score, Chelsea's due to score, Chelsea's due to score, it'd be one thing. But, I pointed out they've been a little fortunate when it comes to conceding as well. And I think because they need to make up that 1-0 difference in aggregate, they're leaving themselves open on the back end. It's not just, okay, we have to have Chelsea score. I think they're going to give up goals, certainly here. I mean, Dortmund, they've averaged 2.5 goals per match during the win streak. So, I mean, Chelsea could lose here 2-1. All we need is maybe one goal from them, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll say one thing, and I talk about this on Puck Time with Andrew McInnes all the time, and that comes at the top of the hour, so tune in for that one, is the thought of sometimes a team, when they finally get that win, they just build off of it because it's sort of the monkey off their backs. And I get it was only Leeds, but Chelsea finally get a win on the weekend, a much-needed win, and who knows, maybe it's something they build off of. It is much better than trying to build off another loss or another draw. So they got the win. It was only 1-0. We'll see what they do today, and I hope for the three of us, we at least see that ball finding the back of the net 3 times, gets us the money. All right, guys, let's get into the third game on the card. Pavlos and Nick are going to look at this one. This at Hotspur Stadium. It's Tottenham and AC Milan. Tottenham minus 104. The draw plus 257. AC Milan plus 291 in this one. Milan wins that first game 1-0. It was Brahim Diaz basically muddling the ball into the net. I think it was a yard out, and he just took it on his chest and ran into the net pretty much with the ball early in that game, 7 minutes in, and that's how the game finishes. Tottenham does just enough to once again lose a Champions League game on the road. Pavlos, are you seeing anything different on this one? Can they overturn that result?
Yes, they can. And to be honest, I was actually considering this match to be one of my big plays for tomorrow. However, when I was looking at team news up until 3-4 hours ago, Giroud and Diaz were said to at least be questionable in this match because Giroud, he missed yesterday's practice due to a flu. And Diaz had a minor muscular issue. But then I kept searching, the team news, and then I saw about a couple of hours ago a new video that emerged from AC Milan's practice, and both Giroud and Diaz are there. Now, the first match was very backwards, at least in my perspective, and it's not because I'm bitter because I had Tottenham on the pick'em line. It's just that the way that that first goal was scored was really lucky for them. The guy does the control, it bounces off the defender, but still he has the control, and then he crosses. The crossed ball again hits the ball of the same defender, and there is a fumble of 4 lucky bounces for AC Milan in that area, and then the shortest guy on the pitch scores a header. I'm at a loss for words. It was a really weird backwards result. Harry Kane was manhandled by the AC Milan defense. He got an elbow to the face inside the penalty area that was not even looked at the VAR. I believe this was a very unfair result for AC Milan, for Tottenham. To be honest, Kulusevski was non-existent in that match. He was really bad. But now there was actually one key factor which led to Tottenham's demise in that match, and that was the absence of every single midfielder they had from the squad. They had to use Skip and Sarr, who are 35 years combined of age. They're really young players and really inexperienced, but they still, I think Sarr did a good job, to be honest. But now Højbjerg is back, which is a huge boost for that midfield. However, it's not going to be an easy match. I do see Tottenham winning this one. I'm not sure if they can qualify, but I was leaning towards Tottenham on this one, but I'm probably going to leave it aside because AC Milan are coming here with full force. However, I'm going to take a player prop here, guys, and it's one of the players that has paid us a lot of money this season. I'm not sure why the odds are so high on him to get carded, but I'm talking about Cristiano Romero. Now, Romero has been carded, I believe it's 7 times. Wait, let me pull up the stats because these are quite interesting stats. He always gets carded in big matches like this. He's a hothead. He He's lunging into tackles with no regard for human life. He's just like a bully in the defense, and they do need a bully like that in the defense. But he needs to be more careful. Now, Romero, I just pulled up his stats. He's been carded seven times in 17 matches in the EPL this season, and he's got 2 yellow cards in the Champions League. So we often see the entire backline of Tottenham getting carded. I was between Dyer to be carded or Højbjerg to be carded, but I think Romero is the best bet. I was, looking at different sportsbooks for some lines. I found plus 160 in one side, plus 240 in the other. I gotta have. I'm gonna take Cristiano Romero to be carded at plus. What is it? 240 at Barstool Sports. I think that's a really nice price, a really high price for something that's very, very possible to happen.
All right, that's Pavlos Lagaretos from Sports Memo, lunging with no regard for human life. That's another thing we can get on some T-shirts along with "I don't care who wins" that he says. But as far as Giroud and Diaz goes, Giroud had a flu, didn't practice with the team on I think on Sunday, but he was with the team. He is available. I just checked right now, and as is Diaz, who had a minor knee ailment on the weekend, but he is fine. So both will be available and should start for AC Milan. Nick, I'm going to go to you next on this one. If Tottenham lose here, is this the end of the line for Conte at Tottenham?
Very likely. It hasn't been a very successful campaign. They continue to just not win anything. But, it seems to be Kane's forte. Is just, I don't know how long that guy's been there. What, he's got an Audi Cup, if that's even a thing, and then nothing else ever since then. But you got to blame somebody. You're not going to blame Kane. So, yeah, probably Conte is going to take the fall. But I do think, Carm, that they have a good chance to overcome this deficit. Now, full disclaimer, I think I've bet on or against Tottenham 8 times or so this year, and I don't remember winning any of them. So clearly I do not have a good read on this team. However, there are a couple of reasons here. I do think Tottenham can come back here, and really it's a lot to do with home and away form for these teams. You look at the Spurs; they're a great team, in London. Their last 3 home matches, they won all 3, kept clean sheets in all 3. Their opponents, well, Chelsea we already talked about, they don't seem to be able to score, so maybe that's not as impressive as it sounds. The Hammers and Man City. So, that's 3 quality wins without giving up a goal. Very, very solid. In the group stage, they beat Marseille. They beat Frankfurt. They drew against Sporting in that last match, although at that point they didn't need a win to secure their knockout berth. But they aren't losing there. You look at Milan away this year, 2 wins. Well, let's look at since the World Cup break. 2 wins in 6 matches since that break. They came against Monza and Salernitana, so not obviously quality sides there. And they have some notable losses. They were spanked 4-0 versus Lazio. 1-0 they lost to Inter. 2-1, they lost to Fiorentina, and that goal came in stoppage time. And of course, I was on the under in that game. Not that I'm salty or anything, but that one scared me. But either way, they don't have any quality wins on the road. And if you go back to the full season, the full body work this entire year, there's not one single quality win on the road for Milan in any competition. I'm sorry, there just isn't. And there's bad omens here. Milan have already traveled to London this year. They lost 3-0 to Chelsea in the group stage. So I can't imagine there's a ton of confidence on this Milan side to go in here and protect this lead. Pavlos mentioned it. You can take Tottenham safer and just take them to win in 90 minutes. Then if it goes to extra time and penalties, then it doesn't matter what happens there. You've cashed. However, I like to get greedy sometimes, and I think if you like that fact that you think they can win and at least get this extra time or possibly win by more, you get a pretty good plus return right now on them to qualify, which, of course, you do need them to be able to overturn the full deficit and move on. But your plus 140, maybe it might be at plus 135 or plus 130. Your book is a pretty good price, I think, for them to do this. There's just a lot of factors, I think, at home that Milan are going to struggle to come over to England and perform well here. So I think they can do it. If you're really looking for some fun, you could take both Premier League teams to overturn their deficits, both small plus money plays, parlay them together. Chelsea and Tottenham, parlay, both to advance. I don't know. It's probably dumb. I can't predict these teams, but I'm going to do a little something on that. So I like Tottenham here, Carm.
Little action, liking Tottenham. Yeah, and the thing with Conte is, listen, he's done an admirable job. He said from the get-go that it was going to be a tough year for Tottenham if they didn't spend money in the transfer window, and they play second fiddle, unfortunately, to some of the other bigger clubs who seem to get the players that he wants, and they end up, whether it's at United or Liverpool or at City. So he's done an admirable job. They're in fourth right now, but the way Liverpool is seemingly coming on, if they don't get a top four, if they don't finish in the top four spot, and I think it's unlikely, I think he leaves at the end of this season. Guys, before we go into the final game, the Bayern Munich and PSG game, it's Tuesday, so obviously it's $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. $2 Tuesdays is where you can get a featured Cappers Plays for only $2. And with that are some great promos inside the analysis section. At WagerTalk, Hakeem Profit, that's his actual last name, which I love. Hakeem Profit has a 5% NBA big profit play. You can get that for $2 along with some great deals. And at Sports Memo, it's the regular 3 cappers for $5 or each capper individually for $2. Buster Sports, who will be on Puck Time at the top of the hour, has a 5% NHL play. Arnard Totals has a CBB total, which goes early afternoon. And Joe D'Amico, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, has a slam dunk play. Those are $2 each, or all 3 for $5. All right, guys, let's get back to the final game. This is the big one tomorrow. Bayern Munich and PSG. Let's have a look at the numbers on this one, and myself and Bryan will look at it. Bayern Munich minus 119 at home. The draws plus 340. PSG plus 261. Obviously the big news here on this one, League One result was 1-0 for Bayern. The XG numbers in that one were 1.26 to 101 for Bayern Munich, so pretty much even. The big news is Neymar is done for the season, requires surgery, will not return for 3 to 4 months. But while I'm worried about it, I'm not worried about it. I think the bigger factor here is the fact that Kylian Mbappe is healthy. He did not start in that game at home against Bayern Munich. He came on in the final, I think, 20 or 25 minutes of the game, and they were a much more fluid team in that second half with him on that left side. He was continuously beating the defenders on that side, and I think they need to stretch out Bayern. It's a tough thing to do, to stretch out Bayern Munich, especially at home. But I believe we're going to see some goals in this game. And I think both teams are going to find the back of the net. We've seen a lot of 1-0 results, 1-0 in League One, 1-0 in the Champions League final a couple of years back. But I think we're going to see some goals here. I like both teams to score and over 2.5. It's a little chalky at minus 160, but that's a play I think gets there. So over 2.5 and both teams to score, yes, is my play in this one. Bri, let's close it out.
I'm not going to disagree with you there, Carmine. I think that's a good play. And I completely agree that when you look back at that first leg, it was almost like 2 different matches when PSG was without and with Mbappe. He comes on, as you mentioned, and he should have had a goal. He had one wiped away by VAR by an offsides, and previously Mbappe, he scored 7 times in 7 Champions League matches. I think he's a good bet to score here at plus 160. I think it's maybe a little higher at some shops. Look, I like PSG plus the half a goal here, and I'm opening myself up probably to a devil's advocate again, so I'll just address it here. Bayern's reputation certainly precedes itself. They've only been eliminated once in the round of 16, their last 12 Champions League appearances. Been over a decade since they failed to advance in the knockout stage when they win the first leg away. And to your point, Carmine, about expecting them to score, you'd have to go all the way back to 2018 to find the last time they did not score in a home Champions League match. But here's the thing, they don't need to win here, do they? They're up 1-0 on aggregate. These teams have split the last 12 head-to-head meetings, each winning 6 times. So I just look at this price. A team like PSG, it's not just Mbappe playing the full 90 here. Messi wasn't 100% in that first leg either. I've seen some make the argument that no Neymar means that you're going to have a simplified attack and it's not going to hurt them as much. I kind of agree with that. Carm, you touched on that as well. Bayern's a little short-handed on the back end. End of the day, PSG, they've scored 11 times in their last 3 league matches. I know that's weaker competition domestically, but they are going to put goals up. I'm with you, and I think they're going to put up enough to, at the very least, be even after 90 minutes plus stoppage time. A team like PSG, I just can't pass up the price here getting half a goal, considering the circumstances that they need to be up a goal just to force added time to have any hope of advancing here.
All right, and Brian, I get it, and I think we agree. And to that point, listen, it is tough trying to fade Bayern Munich at home. It is not a good. It's not a good. It's not a recipe for making money long term. But if you like PSG in this game to get a result and possibly advance, the future's on them right now. And I played this future, so I can talk about it. I took a flyer on the future after the Leg 1 result, and obviously before the news of Neymar being gone. But I took plus 1,800 on PSG. I think that price is super attractive. It could be a dead bet by the time tomorrow afternoon rolls around. But if they somehow find a way to get through Bayern Munich, that 18-1 is going to be cut more than in half. With one big team out of the competition. They will be about plus 600, plus 700, with Man City still being the odds-on favorite. But it's a bit of a flyer, but I'm going to I might add a little bit more to it. We'll see.
Like it.
With that said, guys, let's get to the best bet. The recap segment of the show. We'll go to the sports memo guys first, and Nick Borman. Nick, tell us what you have up, and we'll have a look at your leans on today's show.
Sure, Carm. I have a best bet 2-pack going today for Champions League. I have a 5% play going tomorrow, and I mentioned before 5-0 right now run on those 5% plays. So excited for the 2 days of Champions League here, and big golf tournament this week, the Players Championship. So I have a full card up for that as well, and hopefully it'll be a good week all around.
All right. Best of luck to you on those plays. Pavlos, tell us what you have up, and we'll have a look at your leans on today's show.
Yeah, I have 2 5% loaded. One goes live tonight, and one goes live in exactly 1 week from now. Both 5%. I'm 6-1 in this Champions League 5% this season. 5-1 with 5% totals this season. So it's been going amazing with these plays. I got 2 of them loaded. Your best bet, to be honest, is to take a 7-day all-access pass and get both of these plays and all plays in between. Of course, we got Europa League, Europa Conference League on Thursdays. We've been crossing these leagues as well, and of course, we got weekend plays on for the weekend.
All right, Pavlos, listen, man, best of luck, and I appreciate you jumping in last minute to fill in for Kevin Dolan. Brian, let us know what you have up at WagerTalk, and we'll have a look at your leans.
Yeah, all week, Carm, it's going to be very busy in the afternoons over here. Not just Champions League and Europa League that we'll be looking at, but, the college conference tournaments are in full effect, and that means afternoon action. 2 plays up right now in college basketball. The first one does tip off late afternoon, so hurry over to my page to get both college hoops winners for today. In soccer, as I mentioned at the top, we're on a 9-2-1 overall run, made it 4 straight wins in the Premier League. Yesterday with Brentford, we have won 3 straight in the Champions League, and we'll be playing both matches tomorrow. So head on over to my page. Both those plays will be up very shortly here, as I plan on working that as soon as we're done. And we look to keep it rolling.
All right, and keep it rolling you will. Myself, a couple plays up in Champions League on the games today, and a couple props I'll be loading after the show as well. And then, of course, an NHL card. So maybe the 1-day all access is a way to go. But with that said, guys, I want to mention one more thing. Again, that ST200, ST as in Stoppage Time 200, to get $200 off a 90-day soccer all access package. Normally priced at $4.99, you can get it for $2.99. That's going to take you right through the end of the domestic league season. So you're getting 3 months for $100 a month. It's a really good deal. We'll be back on Thursday. Look at some Europa League games, some games of interest on the weekend. Kevin Dolan will be back. Pavlos will fill the sports memo chair, and Brian and I will be there as well too. As always, guys, good luck with your wagers, and we'll see you on Thursday, 10 a.m.
Have you checked out all the new handicappers at WagerTalk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at WagerTalk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to WagerTalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.